My name is Christopher King, and I have more than a working knowledge of zoning laws and corruption here in Boston, Revere and Quincy, Mass, and areas across the country. I've been a zoning manager who obtained zoning for wireless carriers in several states over the years, including the greater Boston area. Now, in zoning, we were always aware of SHPO, THPO, NEPA, and FEMA issues. I've pulled countless building permits over the years. Now, in Boston, I also documented other matters of general importance, including false evidence, such as the magic bullet that allegedly landed in the trash right on top there in the Dan Talbot police shooting over there in Revere. Also in Revere, a few years ago, I exposed the fact that they put up a new housing complex on contaminated land that was not properly vetted, so that the taxpayers never knew about the contamination before it was approved. Okay, so they just finished building that a few months ago, but it was all shady.
So you already know U.S.C?
Yes.
I was just wondering, are you familiar with any contamination going on at 525 Beach Street in that building there?
No, I have no comment on
Contamination, sir. Has the EPA done a study or anything of that nature? Do you know?
And I also obtained counsel for Joanna Marinova to obtain a $500,000 jury verdict and basically $1 million settlement against the Boston Herald for defamation. Now, that all started after she was on my radio show 5 years ago. Okay, so now we come to Quincy again, where I definitely see the potential for a lawsuit now in Quincy with substantial damages being awarded to the homeowner, James Berlo. Now, I started reporting on Quincy first with there's a new road rage case I heard about, but there was initially one 4 or 5 years ago with Joey Fasano, the muscle man firefighter with the temper problem, okay? And the general press ignored the fact that there was cocaine in the car with firefighter Fasano and his date, who had ties to his alleged assailant, okay? But anyway, none of this was charged because, get this, it was, quote, recreational cocaine, unquote. Now, that was actually in court. Watch the video.
Has that been recording?
No.
It has not.
It is now.
Okay. So what I'm asking you, was it recording previously?
Well, of course not. I would never disrespect the court.
I wouldn't expect you to, but I was just wondering. Thank
Right. I did want to know what exactly recreational cocaine is, though I did have a question about that. I've never heard of a statutory exemption for recreational cocaine, but I guess that'll be for another day. So anyway, Quincy's a funny place, but there are people there trying to do good things. They just too often don't win elections, but maybe this time will be different. Now, today in Quincy, we have Ward 1 City Councilor Maragaret Laforest and her apparently best friend, Inspection Services Director Jay Duca. They both told James Berlo on Quincy letterhead that he needs to obtain flood insurance before he can build on his historic home that he purchased in July of 2012. Therefore, this remains the critical component that has kept him from obtaining a build permit, and he has successfully built out a gutted home located, I believe, at 2 Monument Court in the city of Boston, a much larger affair. That's what he does. He's capable of that. Now, the problem is, her April 2014 letter to the general public says otherwise. It clearly states that you don't need any such insurance as long as you don't have a mortgage. Well, guess what, sports fans? Mr. Burlo owns his own home free and clear, so what's the hang-up? He doesn't have a mortgage. Here's the relevant case law I pulled from Lexis, and it clearly shows that no insurance is needed in this case. Now, I believe the hang-up is that he owns a very unique property that they would love to force him out of so they could help their cronies obtain it later on. I have it on information and belief that at least one of his neighbors went through this successfully and sued. Meanwhile, Mr. Burlo continues to get bogus threats on National Grid letterhead when National Grid told him they would never issue such a letter. He claims there was no lawful reason for him to move his meter outside, and that's just another hassle. Now, who's behind that? Mr. Burlo informs that it was Gary Stone, the supervisor at the gas company, that told him, "You will be in violation of the Department of Public Utilities." He telephoned the DPU, and they said that's absolutely not true, and they don't have that kind of power. But yet, these things just hang in the balance. Now, then again, I've also heard that Paul McCarthy, the town of Canton's only inspector, has also been on the city of Quincy payroll for maybe 10 or 12 years, making something like $90,000 a year, working a couple hours a week as a city of Quincy inspector as well. That's a good living when you can get it. Now, time will tell on all of this, but something also tells me that once this issue hits the public airwaves and Mr. Burlo obtains counsel, this conduct will cease immediately. And then, at that point, the only remaining question will be how to quantify his damages for living with 3 years of this abuse. Now, if any of you have a problem with this, any of you incumbents or challengers, and you want to have a go at me for defamation or further explain yourselves, just shoot me an email at mortgagemovies007@gmail.com, or I'll waive service if you want to sue me. We can get right down to it because, you won't do that because if I get discovery on you in a defamation lawsuit, things are going to be even worse for you when the real truth comes out in public. So, that's not going to happen. So for now, that'll be it, but I'll be back. The other question, of course, is whether Counselor Laforest will be back because if she is, I'll be paying her a visit in person with KingCast Mortgage Movies cameras.